How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Now, recently, the new Metal Gear Solid Snake remake just released. It's a game made with Unreal Engine 5. And from what I've read and I've seen some videos about it, the performance of the game is not great. The frame rate seems to not be there altogether, and the game is not working amazing for a lot of people. So that means a new wave of, I think Unreal Engine is the worst game engine ever posts. So I decided to take a look at this. Is Unreal Engine really that bad of an engine? Is it the developer's fault? Or is this just history repeating itself? That's what we're going to discuss today. So let's get started. Now, one thing I want to tell everybody that's watching this video is I know one thing that's going to improve performance of every game, regardless of what engine they're made with, but for that, you'll have to watch the whole video all the way till the end. So let's start with Steam Greenlight. Now, Steam Greenlight is a program that was created a while ago in 2012, so that pretty much everyone could publish a game on Steam. Some people say that it opened the floodgates for the worst games ever to be made on the platform. And yeah, there was a lot of really bad games that entered the Steam Greenlight era. Now that era has ended, it has been replaced with Steam Direct. I do hear the Steam Direct is much better, and it is curated apparently. I don't think Steam Greenlight was curated whatsoever because of all the terrible games that made it across the line. There were some great games that happened because of Steam Greenlight, but there's a ton of bad games that happened because Steam Greenlight. Now, why am I mentioning Steam Greenlight? Well, most of those games that were terrible that enter Steam Greenlight have one thing in common. That thing was Unity 3D. Unity is a game engine that's been around for quite a while. It's a very user-friendly engine. There's tons of tutorials on how to use it. I'm not a programmer, but I hear that because it has C#, this language is much friendlier for someone that is new to programming than C++, which is what Unreal Engine has. Now, aside from all of the tutorials that made developing with Unity so easy, by the way, Unity was free to use. If you wanted the Pro Edition, you had to pay, but for the most part, you could just use Unity, publish your game. The only caveat was that you had the logo made with Unity at the start of your game, but other than that, you know, it was a complete engine. The other problem that it had, aside from being very easy to use, is the huge marketplace that was around it. Unity always had a lot of assets, like a ton of not only ready-made assets as in 3D models, they had a lot of assets that will allow you to pretty much make a game without much effort. In fact, one of the biggest asset flips happened because of this.
Developers, see if you notice a trend. First, here's Day Survival Begins, a pretty bog-standard zombie Minecraft ripoff. Now, here's Field Z, a pretty bog-standard zombie Oh wait, that's the same zombie. Same HUD. Same art style. Weird. Thirdly, here's Uncrowded, and holy fucking shit, all of these three games are exactly the fucking same. They're the same because they're all Unit Z, a full-fledged asset pack sold on the Unity store for $50. Unit Z gives you an open world, zombies, basic crafting and combat, even vehicles that you can use to build your own cheap knockoff of Unturned.
And that's how the trend of asset flipping started, and we saw a lot of games that were just grabbing assets from the Unity store and putting them together and throwing them in. At this point, you're probably wondering, well, this video is supposed to be about Unreal Engine, not Unity. But wait, the reason why I'm mentioning Unity is because back in the day, a lot of people were saying that Unity was awful, that if they saw a game made with Unity, they will not play it. If they see the Unity logo, they instantly turn them away from that video game. And from what I've explained to you so far, this is not because of Unity. Unity is a great game engine. It was because the way that it was used. Now that has since subsided because we have a new engine account that came into light, and that is Unreal Engine. More specifically, Unreal Engine 5. Now, Unreal Engine 4 Was also free to use. It was an easy engine to get into because actually Unreal Engine 4 is how I got into Unreal Engine, but it wasn't as easy to use or it wasn't as easy to make this high-end realistic graphics that we see with Unreal Engine games nowadays, as easy as it is with Unreal Engine 5 with those tools they introduced like Lumen, Nanite, etc. And not only the visuals, but there's also Unreal comes with a ton of other tools like metahumans and megascans and several other things that can help a small developer make a game as if it was made by a studio of 1,000 people. Now that comes with the same problems that Unity had back in the day. That means that a lot more people are using Unreal Engine 5 nowadays. The fact that the game is available doesn't mean that all developers know how to use it. And one of the arguments that I always make is that if you're going to use something like Unreal Engine, you need to tailor it first before you make your game. You need to tailor it to your needs. You should not be using Unreal Engine as is out of the box, because that's going to give you problems in the long run. You need to work on the engine a little bit first before you start developing your game. Unfortunately, a lot of developers, and this goes from AAA to indie games, are not doing this. They're just grabbing Unreal Engine as is and just putting the game out there, and there comes all the performance issues that we've been seeing. And yes, it's not only about the developers. The people at Epic, the ones who make Unreal Engine, have realized that there are problems, especially with stuttering and shaders and all that, something that they call a hitch. In the latest Unreal Fest, there was even a song called Kill the Hitch.
Hitches! There are hitches in our games!
Hitches? That can't be true.
Oh, they're real, all right.
Oh, yeah, we've seen them.
It's a real struggle.
Sounds like it's time for a hitch.
There's hitches in our game.
Makes our players go insane.
We see all of them, it's true, which we'll note in our review.
We won't take it, everyone. The great hits hunt has just begun. Kill the hits, kill the hits. Fainters might make you sick. All these hitches, burn them down. No more raindrops in my town. Profile it, trace the pain. Hits engaged on me insane. Scar the logsticks through the code. Find the frames with games that load. If we channel all our might, we can get them out of sight. When no stutters will be had, makes the Foundry people glad. Now get ready for a fight, we will debug till it's right. Kill the hits, optimized and running rich. Smooth like butter, keep it slick. Locked at 60, renders quick. Kill the hits. When it's dead, commit the fix. And we will not chip at all till we've killed every last hits. Kill the hits, kill the hits, kill the hits.
I do believe that Epic is working to make Unreal Engine much better than it is right now, and the future games that come with Unreal Engine will have a lot better performance. I've seen it myself in 5.6. The engine run much better. Maps that used to take a lot of time loading, that were very slow, now it work a lot better. Now, is Unreal Engine really that bad of an engine? Well, no. You got games like Clair Obscur that everybody loves. You got games like Black Myth Wukong that a lot of people love. You got games like Wu-Tang Fallen Feathers. A lot of people love that game. You got The Altars. I really like that game. I didn't have any problems with performance. A lot of people didn't have performance with that game, also made with Unreal Engine 5. Splitgate, aside from its gameplay issues, the game performed well too. There's Dragon Ball Sparking Zero, my favorite Dragon Ball game of all time. It works phenomenally. There's Wildgate, there's The First Descendant, the Oblivion remake. There's also several games that are still yet to release that are made with Unreal Engine 5 that I'm pretty sure are gonna be great from what I've heard and what I've seen, gameplay and everything. So what do we do with all this information? Well, that tells me that it's a bit of everything. So a lot of developers are just using Unreal Engine as is because it looks great as is. So they're not bothering changing settings or doing art direction. They just use the assets as they come. They just put in the megascans as they are and don't bother to modify much of the engine. And that is where the problem comes. Now, there is the other side of Epic realizing that there are problems with the technical side of Unreal that is not helping developers. And like I mentioned in the beginning, they've even recognized this. So they aim 5.6 to be a better performant than the previous iteration of Unreal Engine 5. But all in all, I do think this is just a case of history repeating itself to the point of where you can see these two same from Some Ordinary Gamer. I actually did a video reacting to his hate of Unreal Engine, and look, he happened to have another video doing the same thing to Unity. So yeah, back in the day, Unity was popular. Because it was popular, it had a lot of games that released that were bad, and people associated more with those bad games than with the good ones. That is what's happening with Unreal Engine right now as well. There are games that are releasing with awful performance, and because they are more than the games that are better, of course, people are going to be associating that with Unreal Engine. There's also the matter of negative stuff gets more clicks on social media, so there's that. There's no clicks or views on saying positive things about something, but when you talk about negatively about something, you're gonna get a lot of views. That's how the algorithm works. That's not me saying it. Another thing that is happening right now is whenever a game comes out that is not made with Unreal Engine and does great, a lot of people come out and say, see, games made with an engine that is not Unreal Engine are much better. An example that I'm going to put out is Death Stranding 2, released not long ago. A lot of people were praising the game. The game looks fantastic. From what I hear, the performance was also fantastic. So people say, see, the Decima engine is much better than Unreal Engine. And it's not a matter of Decima engine being better than Unreal Engine. Decima engine is only available for high-end studios that work for Sony. Decima engine is not available to the public. So that means that the studios that are using the Decima engine are highly curated studios with top-of-the-line professionals that will be using that engine, as opposed to just regular Joe like me using Unreal Engine. I don't have access to Decima engine. High-end studios do. So that is why you will get better made games with Decima than you will with Unreal. Now, I also have an example of the opposite. See, Frostbite is a great engine and has produced amazing first-person shooter games. It's actually the engine of choice for DICE. Now, this engine was forced on BioWare because EA said, hey, you have to use this engine, and BioWare had a terrible time implementing that engine for the games. Does that mean that Frostbite is a bad engine? Absolutely not. That just means whoever made that decision was not making that decision thinking about the games. That were thinking about the money that they were going to save by using a game engine that was already in-house. So yes, this is a good example of having an in-house engine that is not available to the public that produced bad games, but not because the engine was bad. It was because of a bad studio decision. So what do you think? Do you think it's history repeating itself? Do you think Unreal Engine is the worst thing ever? Or do you think it's the developers that are they just don't want to adjust settings anymore? Let me know in the comment section down below. Now, I know I promised to talk about the one thing that is going to improve performance across all games, regardless of what engines they are made of. Here it goes. Stop pre-ordering games. Stop pre-ordering games. I believe that if, as a collective, we stop pre-ordering games for a period of time, games are going to get better performance-wise. Why? Because when you pre-order, you are telling developers, I don't care if the game even runs. I'm buying it. And the developer says, okay, I'll fix it later. A good case of why not pre-ordering a game helps was The Outer Worlds 2. You see, The Outer Worlds 2 was announced with a price tag of $80. I'm pretty sure with almost 100% certainty that the price was dropped because the pre-orders were not great. That was a huge mistake to make that game be so expensive. So they didn't see pre-orders, they lowered the price. So people would pre-order. But if we don't pre-order at all, then the tops of the studios are going to say, well, something is wrong here. Maybe doing this thing of releasing a game and patching it later doesn't work anymore, and we need to really work on our games before we release it so that they work day one and not, well, here is the game and it will probably function a month from now. And I know it's harder for a lot of people because there's just that skin that they need, that they must have. Look, that skin is going to probably be available for you even if you don't pre-order your game. That mission that they offer you when you pre-order the game is the worst. Usually it's the worst mission of the entire game, and for the most part usually has nothing to do with the story of the main quest. So don't pre-order a game, wait for release, buy your game day one, and you're going to see the behavior of the developers change. Or even better, do what I do, just wait a week. I always wait a week after release because games are releasing broken for the most part. So if you wait 1 week, chances are that at least the game has been patched twice and we will perform, if not at the top, it will perform a little bit better than it did at release. So again, I'm not asking to follow what I do, which is waiting 1 week, but just wait till the game is released. Don't pre-order. You're going to see how games get a lot better if we stop this behavior. Thank you so much for watching all the way till this point. Remember to leave a like, leave me a comment because it helps a lot with the new algorithm. It needs engagement. So make sure to just leave a like if you like this video, subscribe if you haven't. If you like to see what is under the hood on video games, I'm going to have an indie game coming up in my next video for the Dissected series called Wild Game. So make sure you stick around for that, ring that bell for notification, and I'll see you in the next one.